Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Bolt Action Basics, the show for the newbie to wargaming, or maybe just the newbie to bolt action. But either way, we're here to help you out to understand the game a little bit more and hopefully to get into the hobby and have fun. So, today, a bit chilly, but you know, and fall's on the way. But what better day to pick than to talk about and to show how to make plastic figures, how to construct them. Some of you may have gone out and bought some of the army starter sets, or maybe bought a box of plastic figures, because let's be honest, they're very good value for money, and you know, get a lot of troops, and it's a great way of really packing out your force and being a good core to your force. So maybe you've gone out and done that and you're not quite sure how to put them together. So today what I want to do, we're going to be looking at the Blitzkrieg German infantry box. I'm going to be making some of these for us on cam, on video. You have to excuse me, it's Friday and I'm not quite firing on all cylinders today, but hopefully we're going to go through this. I'm going to talk to you about some of the tools and equipment that you need for this, and then we're actually going to go over to the workbench and we're going to put together some figures for you. Now in this set, there's 6 different figures on each sprue, and all the sprues are the same. So what I'll do is I'll show you the construction of those 6 and the different ways we could do them, and then we will and that'll be it, because I don't want to, you know, show you the hours of me sort of playing around. Kind of, I'm sure that would bore you, but I will give you a clue to that. So what sort of tools do you think we need? Well, pretty much to start with, you definitely want to get yourself a pair of sort of model clippers. They're spring loaded. The really nice thing is that one side is flat and the other side is a little sort of more beveled on the inside, or not beveled but at an angle. So if you need to cut something but you don't want to cut too far, you can put the flat end up against the bit that you don't want to cut, and then you'll know you definitely won't cut it. So these are really useful for getting all the figures and components off the sprues. Well worth having. Another tool that you might have, Andy Singleton suggests this in his article that he wrote about constructing plastic figures, and I think I'll put a link to that in the description box. But he suggests having a craft knife. Now this is just an X-Acto knife. It's what we have over here. Sharp blades, so just be careful with that, and always, yeah, and just be careful with that. If you want to see any tutorials about using these, check out the terrain tutor. He's quite good on things like these, but more for terrain building than figure building. These are quite useful if you just need to, you know, carve off a little bit of excess sprue or whatever it might be. I don't tend to use these. What I use is a small hand file. This is a half round, being that half of it is round. It's not very good, but anyway, half of it's round, curved on the top and flat on the bottom. I use these, really easy to just file off a little bit without filing off a ton of detail, so that's what I use. So those are the 3 main tools, or 2 main tools that I use. And then to construct them, we're gonna need some sort of adhesive, some sort of glue. And I cannot, and nor can Andy Singleton, emphasize enough how important it is to get the right glue. Now, what I use, and you can get these in just various hobby shops, particularly shops that sell Airfix kits. I use the Revel, and it's just what's it called? It's just a liquid glue for plastics, and it's really good. I used this when I started. I built my first ever model was a Spitfire model airplane 172, and this is what I used, and this is what I used for my plastics. Now it has a kind of a needle point on the end. I don't even know whether you can see that. Yeah, there you go. Now the idea is that you can use it precisionally and squeeze the bottle and glue will come out that's all well and good, except for the second time you go to use it, you'll find it's clogged up and the glue's dried in there, and you won't get any more out. The problem with that is it's a real devil to clean and to do it. So I don't use that. What I do is I unscrew this cap and I use an empty bottle with this part and I dip it in and I wiggle it around and get some on the end of here. And then I use that to spread onto the various parts that I need to glue. Now the great thing about this plastic modeling glue is that when you put it on, I believe what it does is it starts to kind of melt the plastic a little bit, and then it kind of sticks it and forms and joins, and it kind of bonds that way. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to glue, and then it gives you, you know, some seconds to reposition where you need it to be without it falling off, but also with it not being glued solid. So it gives you a little bit of playroom, and I'm sure you'll see that when we go over to the workbench shortly. So definitely plastic to plastic, you want plastic model glue. Okay, can't emphasize that enough. For sticking figures to bases, I generally use PVA glue or just ordinary white craft glue. This is Elmer's, but in England, you know, PVA, it's all the same. You can pick these up really cheap. You just need a dab of that, and all these plastic figures that I've stuck onto these bases, particularly with the green stuff on, they're all done with PVA glue, and as you can see, absolutely no coming off. Yeah. So that's really useful, PVA glue for figures to bases. Now, if you get a set like the Russian Siberian veterans, for example, in that set you get plastic figures but with additional metal parts. So like you might get some metal arms holding a submachine gun, or you might get a metal head that you want to put on your plastic figure. Now, the plastic to plastic glue, the modeling glue, will not work for that. What you need to do is get some super glue, and you can get this pretty cheaply. This one's the Loctite. I just get it from Walmart. I use the liquid one for figures. And what you need to do is put a bit of this on the metal part and then stick it onto the plastic. So, and that will hold it tight. So let's just recap very quickly, because there's 3 glues there and I know it can be a bit confusing. Plastic to plastic, modeling glue, plastic modeling glue. Figures, plastic figures, plastic figures to bases, white glue, PVA glue. And metal to plastic, super glue. And if you follow those guidelines, you shouldn't go too far wrong. So that's pretty much it from the kind of technical side and the tool side. I think we're about ready to go to the workbench and crack on with some figures. So let's go cameras down and head over to the workbench. Okay guys, so here we are on the workbench. I have my glue, my plastic glue, I have my cutters, I have my file, I have one sprue from the Blitzkrieg German infantry box, and I have my construction kind of details here, what's on the sprue. Okay, so we're going to go for the 5 infantry figures, the 6 that come on the sprue, and I'm going to put them together for this demonstration. So I'm going to start off because I have had a think about what I want to do, and I'm going to start off with the, I'm sorry about the shadow guys, let's see if I can really close up. So I'm going to start with this guy here, the prone position guy. As you can see, he's attached, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my clippers with the flat edge against the body, and that stops me cutting any details on the body that I want to keep. So I'll do that there, and then I'll come down and I will also, I'm really sorry that this isn't very clear. Hopefully this will be a bit clearer on YouTube. Okay, and then I'm going to just clip again. And he's come free. So, if we look at my sheet, which, I mean, I've already done a box of these, so I knew that this guy was the prone guy. But if we have a look, we line it up with the sprue, we see that it's number 24. And number 24 is the prone body. Now we need to find the prone leg, and luckily it's right next to it, number 25. 24, 25. Okay, so we've got two prone legs. We've got number 25, which is an angled leg. Leg out at an angle, or we could go for the alternative leg for the prone body, number 26, which is the straight one. Now I think most of my other guys had straight legs, so what I'm going to do just to change things up a little bit is I'm actually going to go for number 25 and again flat side to the bit that I don't want to damage, which is the leg, and I've cut that out. So we've got the legs and the body. Let's go ahead and clean this up. So I'm going to take my file, I'm going to take the figure, and I don't know if you can actually see on there, there's a little bit of white moulding just on the end here, which you can't really see because it's not focusing, maybe there. Okay, but that white part is actually just left over from the sprue. So I'm just going to have a quick file of that and try to get that as much of that off as possible. And all that does is it just it just makes it a little bit of a smoother, tighter seal when you come to glue. There's a little bit, there's not really much on the foot, it's just a little bit of plastic leaning over there. And then on the leg where I cut it off the sprue as well, there's another one, so I'm just going to do that. What also happens when you file these up, guys, is it just makes the surface a little bit rougher, which means that the glue can actually get in to the plastic, and it just makes it a little bit of a better joint when you come to doing this. You don't have to do it. I find it helps. I think. I haven't tried it any other way, so I guess I don't really know. There you go. There's an amateur speaking right there. But I'm sure it is. Now, I'm going to take my glue. So as I said before, I take the top off of this part. Make sure this part is clean. And I'm just going to dip this in here. Like so. Get some glue on the end. I'm then going to spread it on the part that I want to stick. Like so. And then, see, this is the mistake I made, because I should have double checked before I put the glue down that part went like that, and just to check how it fit. I will do that on the next one, or probably in the arms. Okay, so glued on, I've just held it there, and the glue is now gluing and doing its job, and that will be pretty much done. Now obviously while it's gluing, you don't want to be fiddling around with it. I can just see a little bit extra plastic hanging off the edge on the leg that I just want to tidy up with the file, and I'll do that in a minute. But obviously while it's drying, I will just leave that to dry, and while I'm doing that, I should take a drink. Okay, so next thing we want to do is think about his arms. Some people go and do all the bodies first and then stick arms on. Some people just work one figure at a time. It is really up to you. I'm going to go ahead and stick this guy's arms on, and I want him to be a machine gunner. So let's have a look at our sprue content sheet. We're going to look for some arms with a machine gun. Okay, number 17, Mg38, Mg40. No, we don't want that one. Here we go. Mg34 firing arms for the prone body, which is number 30 and number 29. Number 30 and number 29. If I can find the numbers on here, that would help. I think it is pretty simple, guys. It's just me just being me. There they are. Okay. So, they are these two here. Yeah, that's right. So again, flat part the cutters towards the arm. A quick little snip, and the same for this one. When I used to do Airfix models, I used to just twist them until they came off. You can do that. I quite like the clipper method. It's just quicker, and you definitely cut, you know, very specifically. Try not to throw these bits on the floor. Oh, come on. Okay. I don't know. You might have got me touching the screen because my phone just told me that I'm running out of power. But hopefully, should get to the end without having to go and get the charger. Because if we do, that mucks up the camera angle. We'll just do it as a separate part. Okay, lovely. So I've got his arms pretty much cleaned up there. Lovely. So now, as I said, what I should have done before is actually take the figure and put the piece sort of just a dry kind of positioning, just to see how I want it, see if that looks as I think I want it. With the prone position, it's a little bit difficult, so you have to kind of, I guess, do it while he's in the prone position, just kind of get an idea of positions of the body. The other thing I'm going to do on this one actually is to stick the Mg34 together, stick it into his hand first, so that that's in the natural position, and then from there I can go ahead and glue his arm into the position I want it, that sort of natural looking position. Just a word of warning with the machine guns and some of the rifles, they can be a little bit delicate, so when you are sanding or filing, just go nice and gently. I generally only file in one direction. Excuse the pun, and please don't think I was referring to the band. Okay, so I've got that done. There should also be a bipod. Yeah, there's the bipod there, number 41, Mg34 bipod, fantastic. Sometimes it's worth looking at the diagrams just to check which bit you are supposed to be cutting, because with the Mg34 it looks like there's almost some supporting arms holding them together, but in fact on the picture there isn't. So you just know that that's the bit that needs to come off. And it is fiddly. It is fiddly. And with my big fingers, it's a little bit fiddly, more fiddly. But we have it off successfully, and you probably can't see that. There you go. Okay. Oh, I just dropped it. Right. Oh, there it is. Good. I always find when I drop things, I decide to not move. Have a look before you move, because I always find that it's either falling on top of something, and I should be able to see it. As I said, guys, this is fiddly. This is definitely fiddly. Okay, so I've got my stand, my bipod, bit of the old glue. Dip that on. I just put that on the top. Oh, let's see if I've got some glue. Yeah, lovely. There we go. Just pop that on the top of there. Often referring to the picture just to make sure I've got the bipod in the right place. It's in the right place, and often I will just lean that down. So my machine gun is, in fact, just here. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's facing that way. Let's turn it sideways. It will take just a few seconds to dry, which gives you long enough to work it. Stand this up properly. Okay, just here. Okay, it gives you just enough time to work it and to get it into the right position, but it doesn't dry so quickly that you can't. So, nice little advantage there to using this glue. Now, my arm, I know, is going to have the hand on the trigger. Okay, and the idea is that the butt of the machine gun will be sat into the shoulder. So that's kind of what I'm going to aim to do. I'm going to actually just glue the hand on now. to the machine gun, and I'm going to put a little bit on his shoulder, on his arm, just so that if we do come in contact with the machine gun, we can get a little bit extra of a bond. And look at that, we have now an arm with a machine gun. Okay, and I'm going to actually go ahead and glue this straight on now to the body, so that I've got that all in position, and I can get it starting to dry. And again, oh, that's a little bit way out. That's a little bit way out. I think that might be the bipod that's out. Okay, I think we're closing in on this. I think what I've done, the bipod is a little bit. It needs to be straightened level with the floor rather than with the gun, because the bipod on a German Mg34 could swing so that you could kind of tilt the gun and the bipod would stay on the ground to give you that support. So there was that movement, so I need to actually move the bipod so that it's touching the ground on both legs. And once that arm's dried and in the position I want it, I will then go ahead and glue that differently. It is worth going on to Google, guys, and doing a Google Images search for, you know, German World War II Mg34, and see if you can find some pictures of reenactors actually using this equipment, because quite often you'll notice the positions of how these things fall and how they're carried, and primarily it's not because, you know, they're reenacting how it was done, but actually just by, you know, kind of doing it, like carrying a rifle. There are only certain ways that you can carry a rifle, and that you can do for long periods of time, that are effective and kind of comfortable, and people, particularly soldiers, tend to do what's comfortable, especially if they have to do it for a while. So let's glue the other arm on. This is more of a leaning arm. He's sort of supporting his body weight primarily with this arm, and it should touch the ground. Oh, and I'm all over the place because I've got big fingers. Oh, this is where plastics get a little bit frustrating. On the whole, of course, I really enjoy them. I really like them. Whoa, and his leg's falling off. Oh my goodness, this guy's in a bad shape. He's come under some heavy fire, and he's not even made it out into the field yet. So I'm gonna stick some more glue. I'm gonna stick some more glue on to his leg and really make sure that that is cemented down. I think probably what I did, guys, was skimp on it a little bit. That's a good blob. Yes, that's why we like it. Good stuff. Let's stick that on there. Go on. Yep. There we go. I'm sure when you're a pro like the Right Honourable Mr. Andy Singleton, you probably don't make these sort of noises when you're gluing figures, but that is an authenticity test to show that I am in fact an amateur at this. Yes, I've done quite a few plastic figures, but I am still an amateur, and look at that, that's brilliant. His legs actually, no, okay. So his right leg is kind of a little bit off the ground. You might be able to see that, and what I'll probably do is end up putting some green stuff underneath him, just to kind of look like he's got his leg on a rock or something. The machine gun's actually straightened up. I think the supporting arms helped with that. And the other leg is on, although I'm not convinced at how steadily. So I'm happy with that at the moment. We're going to crack on and put his head, because I realise that this has taken me 15 minutes already, and perhaps talking to you guys has made it a little bit longer, but yeah, that's what I'm here for. So I'm gonna take a head. I generally use the helmets, and for a machine gunner, I like to use a head that has a mouth open, and that sounds kind of weird, but I think when you're firing a machine gun, and you know, you're either probably, you know, from the films, you're either screaming at the opposition, or you leaving your mouth open to equalize the pressure so that your eardrums don't burst. Particularly, you know, if you're firing artillery or mortars or anything like that. Generally, You're told to keep your mouth open, put your fingers in your ears and keep your mouth open so that you don't get a build-up of pressure that blows your eardrums. At least that's what I was told. Maybe I was just told that so that I would do it and look stupid, but yeah, who knows. Okay, so a bit of glue on the neck, and this is a bit tricky because the head's quite small, and we've just got to sit him on the neck there, and he is ideal. He is looking in the right direction down the barrel, and he is good to go. So that is one figure down, 15 minutes. Whew. Okay, I'm happy with that. For now, I'm gonna leave him. I'll tell a lie, I'm not gonna leave him for now. I'm gonna add a little bit more detail so that you can see that, and then if I do speed up on the other bits, then that's fine. So for this guy, what are we gonna do? We're gonna put some personal equipment on him. I think he probably needs the toolkit, and maybe toolkit and pistol holster. I think that's him. So number 16 includes both of those things. Let's see, orientate myself. Third section over. Yeah, got it. So Mg34 toolkit and the pistol holster. And you can add little bits of equipment like this to your figures, and you know, you can make it as historically accurate as you like, or not, whatever you think might look good. I like to, you know, be fairly logical about these things. You know, the Mg34 gunner or his loader is likely to carry a toolkit. Having served with the British Army, you know, part of the machine gun team, you know, somebody would have extra ammunition, somebody would have a toolkit so that if it broke down, you know, it could be repaired quickly. Because when you're on the battlefield, you've got to, you know, and that's your support weapon. That's keeping the enemy's heads down. You got to keep that part of the weapon, the part of the firefight going, because otherwise your guys are gonna struggle. So there we go. So we have our first figure all sorted out, and I could always add more to him if I wanted, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple today on that one. I've got another 2 of these to build anyway, so I might do something a little bit more special later on. So let's move on very quickly. Let's go for this guy. I quite like this one, and I'm probably going to do a very similar pose to what I've done before. This guy is which one is he? He is number 28, which is the braced body. He's braced and he's got a stick grenade in his boot, and I always imagine, I like to think of him throwing a grenade. So he's going to be the soldier throwing a weapon. Sorry, throwing a grenade. I don't know what it is, guys. I just, maybe I'm working too hard, but I'm just all over the place with my brain at the moment. Okay, so we've got him. He's tidied up. I'm going to start off with his throwing arm. Now there is a number, what is it here? 11 and 12 are arms with stick grenades. So 11 and 12. Yeah, hang on, no, 12 isn't. Oh, that's the field glasses. It would help if I read. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not the best at these tutorials, but hopefully you're enjoying it all the same and probably laughing at me. And, you know, hey, maybe I'll move from teaching to comedy. Who knows? But anyway, probably not, because probably nobody finds me funny, as my wife keeps telling me. But so I've got my arm with a grenade there. Okay, I'm gonna stick that on very quickly. So he's throwing his grenade. A little bit of glue on the arm, and stick that in a nice position where it looks like he's about to throw that. Lovely jubbly. I like that already. Okay, now for his other arm, his left arm, in the Second World War, soldiers were taught to carry their weapons one of two ways. Either in the port, which is kind of two hands on it across the body going forward, or to carry it in the trail position, which is essentially one hand about halfway down the weapon, sort of carrying it by your side, with the muzzle obviously pointing forward. So that's what I'm going to have him do. He's going to be carrying it in the port position. I've just got to find the right arm for this. Command arm, no. Carrying arm, number 10. Number 10 is what I want, which is right opposite the grenade hand. That was quite handy. Somebody almost might have thought they would go together. Oh. Okay, so cut that off, give it a quick file, clean up the sprue mark there. The reason is, guys, why we want to clean up these sprue marks, you might be wondering this, is because those sort of imperfections will play havoc with your with the texturing. Well, it plays havoc with the texture, but it also plays havoc with your painting when you get round to that stage. And I'll have a tutorial out about painting, probably following on from this tutorial. Okay, so I've just got the rifle. I've got a rifle with a sling here. Again, I have to be really careful with this because they are fragile. Not too bad. They're, you know, fairly robust. Much better than I remember doing some Victrix Napoleonics, British Napoleonics, and the bayonets. They snap off like nobody's business. So, for carrying the rifle, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the guy's hand. I'm actually going to clean this off first because this is. Problem is, guys, when you do this method like I'm doing, the glue, once you've used it, anything that's left on there obviously dries and then it gets gloopy, and then being able to get more glue on is a little bit tougher. So I try and clean it off every few times. So a bit of glue in the hand, in the hand, and then I'm going to put the rifle in it. I just need to hold it there for a second. I've put it a little bit down from the bolt, yeah, works quite nicely, I think. Let's see if I can show you. Okay, so you can see there his hand is a little bit past the trigger housing and past the bolt action part on top. So a little bit of glue on his arm socket here, and let's stick his arm on. Hey. Glue, please. Stick, stick, stick. Once it's there and you can hold it, it's pretty easy, but I keep knocking the sling, which is not fabric and loose and moving. I keep knocking that with my finger, and that's making it a little bit trickier, but there we go. It's also important, guys, I mean, I like to think of this anyway, when you're gluing things in positions, think about how easy it's going to be to get in there to paint, because if it's going to be tricky, you might not want to go down that route, just to make life a little bit easier for yourselves. Okay, what equipment are we going to put on this guy? I think he needs a bread bag and a water bottle and his mess tin, so we'll cut that off. Just wondering if he needs anything else, or whether he's going to go light on this one. Could always put on a pack. Although I've got a mess tin here, so I don't really need to put a pack with a mess tin on there. Okay. Yeah, I have made mistakes in the past where I've given somebody who has a bayonet attached to their weapon a bayonet case with a bayonet in the case, which may sound a bit silly, because it was silly. I needed to think, actually, if there was a bayonet case that didn't have what am I trying to say? A bayonet in. That would have been ideal. Okay, there we go. And I also like to balance the body up. So if he's got his rifle in his left hand, then obviously then I like to have things on his back on the right side, because it just balances up the figure a little bit more. And finally the head. And again, this guy's going to be a shouting guy because he's throwing a grenade and he's shouting grenade or Grenaden or whatever the German is for grenade. I think it's Grenaden, but I could be wrong. Okay. Little bit of detail on this helmet, so I need to just be very careful when I'm filing, just to get the detail, keep the detail on, but make sure that the sprue stuff comes off. Get a bit of glue on there. Come on, glue. You can do it. Sometimes when you start getting towards the bottom, you have to tip it a bit. But there we go. Right, glue on the head. Figure and head to unite. Yes. And the position of the head can be quite important. Obviously, you don't want to be shooting at a target that you're looking away from. Looks excellent to me. Okay, there we have our German with throwing his grenade. Excellent. Okay, at this point, guys, I'm gonna that's 2 in half an hour. You can tell this is going to take me a while. I'm gonna actually take a short break so that my phone can charge, so that I can then come back and record the last 4 guys. I'm gonna probably need to grade some papers while that's marking, while that's charging, and then we'll come back and finish this off. So we'll see you in a minute. All right then.